Hey everybody, JCB here at the Awesomist, and you're watching the Awesomest Awesomest Awesome List. This is the first awesome list I've done in a long time. In fact, let's take a look back at how long ago the last one was. Holy crap. So I figured what better time than right now, what better topic than the top 10 scariest rides at Magic Mountain. Now, of course, this is coming from the perspective of like a new rider or a little kid, someone who's never been to the park before, not veteran riders like you or I. Anyway, without any further ado, here are the top 10 scariest rides at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Number 10, Revolution. This is of course the calmest of the big kid rides at the park. The first roller coaster in the world to feature a full vertical loop, the Revolution is definitely one of the calmest rides on this list. Now originally I was going to include Apocalypse right here, but I feel like even all the twists and turns and shakiness that ride has to offer that might scare new riders still has nothing on the fact that you go upside down on the Revolution. For most new riders, that idea of going upside down on a roller coaster is scarier than anything else. Number 9, Superman and Drop of Doom. Superman Escape from Krypton might seem really intimidating at first glance because it has that giant tower that you speed all the way up to the top of and then free fall back down. But really, that's the extent of the entire ride. It doesn't go beyond that. You don't go upside down, there's no real twists and turns, and by the time you realize what's happening, the ride's pretty much over. So if you're into short bursts of adrenaline, Superman Escape from Krypton is the perfect ride for you. As for Drop of Doom, I would actually put it higher on this list if it was a roller coaster, but since it's just a drop ride, you kind of get what you're expecting from this ride. Once you've done it, it's not that scary, but for first-time riders, it's pretty intense. Number 8, Scream, Batman, and the Riddler. I grouped these three big coasters together because they're all B&M coasters and they all offer a very similar experience. While they do have their own twists and turns, metaphorically speaking as well as literally speaking, they all tend to be kind of samey. Most B&M coasters are fairly smooth. Most B&M coasters have very similar elements to them. So if you're comfortable with one of these three rides, you're going to be comfortable with the other two as well. Number 7, Viper. With its many inversions and rough track, Viper packs quite the punch. Literally, by the time you're done riding this ride, you're going to feel like you were punched in the face. But don't let its name and reputation fool you. Aside from the painful ride experience, this ride is less intense than it looks. While sure you may feel every rib-cracking, face-slamming twist and turn, the whole experience is pretty tame compared to the higher entries on this list. Number 6, Goliath. I know what some of you are thinking. Goliath's more scary than Viper? More scary than the Riddler and Batman? Come on. And yes, anyone who's actually ridden this ride knows that Goliath is a lot of fun and not that scary. It doesn't even go upside down, so I tend to agree with you. But believe it or not, the many times I've introduced new people to the park, and especially children, they would rather ride some of the far more intense rides at the park than set one foot on Goliath. There's just something about that gigantic lift hill that intimidates the hell out of everybody. And to be fair, that drop is no joke, and that helix can actually cause some people to black out, so I feel like it's justified its spot on this list. Number 5, Full Throttle. Full Throttle is another one of those rides that looks more intense than it actually is. It starts off with an insane boost of speed, launching you through one of the world's tallest loops. After a few zigzags, you end up inside of a tunnel, before being blasted backward at incredible speed, free falling forward again and blasting through the tunnel twice as fast. Then you go over the top of the same loop you just went through and land back at the station. The entire ride takes about 50 seconds, but it's an intense 50 seconds. This is like the Revolution on steroids. Number 4, Wonder Woman. This single rail coaster is the only one of its kind in Southern California. Sure, there's that one in Northern California at Great America, but that park's closing in a couple years. Anyway, Wonder Woman features all kinds of fun inversions and twists, with a special unique gimmick of its own. A single rail, single file train that might be the only coaster in America that causes saddle sores. Am I the only one who finds the train on Wonder Woman just completely uncomfortable? It's just like this weird setup where like it hurts my knees and my hips and everything. It just feels really bad. Am I the only person? Comment down below. Anyway, this single rail, single file train design means that even if you have your friends with you, you're sitting all alone, which for some people makes this a far more scarier ride than any coaster that allows you to sit right next to your best friend. Number 3, Twisted Colossus. Twisted Colossus is a reimagining of the classic wooden coaster Colossus. This redesign was completed in 2015. It features about 4 minutes of ride time, 2 racing tracks, and more airtime than I could even count. You will feel yourself dangling upside down for far longer than you may be comfortable with. Additionally, the I-beam style twisted track creates some topsy-turvy, who wrote this? Anyway, it's an experience unlike any other at the park. Number 2, Tatsu. This flying coaster is unique to Magic Mountain as it was built to fit to the contours of the mountain on which it was constructed. There are other such flying dragon coasters in the world, but this one was specifically built for this park. Like Goliath, veterans will say it's not all that scary once you've been on it, but for first-timers, this is the kind of ride that brings newbies to tears. The scariest aspect for new riders seems to be the manner in which you fly face first through the air, like you have a rocket strapped to your back. It's a lot of fun by the time it's over, but that first time is really intimidating for most new riders. Number 1. And now it's time to get to the number 1 most scary ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain. That's right, Gold Rusher. I'm just messing with you. It's X2. Obviously, it had to be X2. I mean, is anyone surprised that this is the number 1 ride on this list? This is a ride unlike any other in California and possibly the entire United States. X2 is considered a 4D coaster. Not only does the track twist and turn and loop in all different ways you can imagine, but in addition to that, the train itself moves and rotates and spins independently of the direction of the track. This is by far the most intense and most scary roller coaster at the park. Anyway, that's my list. Did I forget anything? Did I miss your favorite ride? If so, let me know down below. Obviously, I couldn't include everything on this list. For instance, I left off West Coast Racers because I do think that while it's not a little kid ride, it definitely is less intense or less scary for new visitors than some of the other rides on this list, including the Revolution. I think something about a ride that has no shoulder harness and goes upside down and was built in the 1970s is just a little more scary than something as modern as West Coast Racers. But if you disagree, let me know down below. If you're not sure which order you would like to tackle some of these rides in, I do have a video all about that as well on the channel, which I'll try to link here. And don't let anybody pressure you. If you don't feel like you can ride any of these rides, there's always Looney Tune Land. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep being awesome. I recently got an email from a subscriber who told me they were 13 years old, had never ridden a roller coaster before, and wanted to know what they should go on first when they got to Magic Mountain. Now, thankfully, I've actually come up with kind of a progression system for Magic Mountain specifically that I kind of experimented on my nieces and nephew with a while back. I came up with a method that actually works